Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Well, in one of the previous episodes we looked at the best Vietnam War games of all times, and these were really great games. If you haven't seen that episode, check it out. But today I have another great news for you, because soon we will have another new FPS about Vietnam. So this time let's take a look at banning lands and find out what it's all about. And before we do that, make sure you subscribe and hit notification bell to be always informed about new episodes. Okay, let's start. As far as I know, the game will be available on PC, PlayStation and Xbox Series, and it's promised to be a strategic online PvP war game that emphasizes deep collaboration between players, squad and role organization, ensuring that individual players and small groups have a distinct way to contribute to overall team effort. Each team is planned to consist of 60 players divided into the squads. Well, that's amazing, 60 players. Each squad supposedly will be further divided into the roles, including the squad leader and specialized roles like medic, combat engineers, machine gunner and anti-tank operators, and so on and so on and so on. So it is a cool feature, not a new one in the gaming world, but definitely a new one for Vietnam shooters. It reminds me of games like, for example, Enlisted and Allied. That's great. Anyway, both teams supposedly will have a commander who coordinates the squads toward achieving the team's objectives. The commander will provide resources to the team, including vehicles, equipment and off-map support, shaping the team's tactics to achieve victory. By off-map support I meant airstrikes. So it seems like coordination on all levels will be the main thing to achieve success in this game. Well, it is a very interesting feature. What do you think? Can you suggest any other game that have commander over 60 other players feature? Well, I have a hard time recalling one. So if you know good example, please drop your comment. Developers promise that matches will take place on large-scale maps of various sizes, featuring a diverse range of land, water and air vehicles. So far I managed to find references to the following maps. I was very glad when I found that the developers are working on a Khe Sanh map. The Battle of Khe Sanh was a struggle that dragged for approximately 5 years, from 1966 to 1971. Base had huge strategic importance within Quang Tri province, as well as being a primary launchpad for SOG units operating against Ho Chi Minh Trail and doing other operations in the region. So it is great that we will have Khe Sanh map in this game. It is very important. Another map that I found is Operation Measure. Operation Measure was one of the largest search and destroy missions that had been carried out in Vietnam War. It went from January 24th to March 6th, 1966. Yeah. For now, 2 maps and 2 locations, but I hope and I think that it is only a part of the maps that developers will produce. A little bit about Fog of War and the maps as such. Maps and Fog of War mechanics are promised to be really cool. Check it out. As squad member without radio man near your squad leader, you will be able to see your own squad leader, friendly vehicles, depot, the commander and their orders on the map. You cannot see any other friendly units on the map. Well, for squad leaders it is slightly different. Without radio man you can see all friendly vehicles, depot spans, additional squad leaders and commander. With the radio man in your radius, you can see all friendly units and orders on the map. And this is a great feature that, in my opinion, somehow tries to recreate a kind of a chain of command, or at least a feeling of that, and creates a military hierarchy and puts a higher responsibility on squad leaders and commanders and make them more important and valuable in the battle. That's great. Few words about vehicles. Apparently there will be many legendary vehicles like M113, one of the most widely used AFVs in the world, which is still used in combat in many of its variations today. M48 Patton, that was a main battle tank of a US Army and US Marine Corps in a Vietnam War. Soviet-made BTR-152, which actually is still in use in Vietnamese and Cambodian armies. Other land vehicles will include the M151 Jeep, M35 truck, ZIS 150 trucks. Water-based vehicles will feature iconic PBR boats. Yeah, great. Yeah, these are really iconic boats from Vietnam War, which have been used by US Army. On Vietnamese side, there will be sampan boats. Support will feature such iconic helicopters like Huey, Chinook and Cobra. Yeah, Cobra gunships with missiles and high caliber machine guns on board. And as far as I know, all these vehicles will be available to drive and pilot and to operate the ground vehicles effectively. Players will be required to work in pairs, assuming different roles. It is planned that all transport vehicles will be able to take up troops depending on the amount of cargo they transport. For instance, if say M151 have a mounted M60 machine gun, that reduces available seats to 3 players, and say in case of M35 or ZIS 150 transport trucks, number of supplies the truck carries directly affect the number of troops that can ride in this truck. So you got my point, and this is a great and very realistic feature. In case of combat vehicles, there will be a driver and other player as a gunner. So again, cooperation, which is again absolutely great and stunning and very interesting feature. Another great feature that the developers are adding to this game is the enemy vehicles capture. That's awesome. What do you think? So basically you will be able to capture enemy vehicles and use them against enemy. So based on the amount of work and attention that developers pay to all these vehicles and all these things surrounding these vehicles, I suppose we must expect a lot of cool explosions and gunfire scenes in this game as well. And as it appears, the game is planned to be played in matches or rounds. Developers promise us that each round will present unique outcomes due to varying resources, tactics, game modes, and dynamic spawning system, so that no 2 rounds of banning lands Vietnam will feel the same. Well, if these promises will realize, then it will be absolutely stunning. Well, based on all that we learned so far, and especially taking into account the specialized roles of each squad member and specialization, well, yes, it looks like there will be an infinite number of scenarios. In my opinion, this game, if successful and if community will be stable, can revive and give Vietnam War gaming quite a boost. What do you think? Write your opinion in comments and do not forget to subscribe. That's it for today. Thank you for watching and supporting channel. I wish you health, peace and have fun gaming, and stay tuned for the next episode.